I do when I jump online is disappear, drop my tea bag. Hi, everybody. I'm getting a text, maybe by my moderator. Here we go. I'm ready. Anybody else here? Let me know if you are here. Surprise! We've gone live. I gotta get some milk from my tea. I'm still here. I'm still here. I don't know if you can still see me. Can you still see me? Yeah, you can still see me. Well, it's just me and one other person. That's okay. I like a good old one-on-one. Can you hear me? Let me know if you guys can hear me. Whoever is there. Can you hear me? All right. I'm going to keep making my tea. I think because I have the comments. Oh, yay, Kathleen, you're here moderating. Hello. So this was a bit of an unplanned live, but I figured since this would be my last day to upload in January, why don't we go live instead of the normal way of posting a video? Making some tea. Anybody else out there a tea drinker? If this is your first time joining us, please let me know where you are in the world. I'm having myself a lovely cup of Earl Grey tea. Am I too close to you guys? Can you see? Oh, there you can see now. There we go. A little Earl Grey tea with a touch of honey and a splash of milk. My favorite. Tell us about the weather where you are. Well, today actually is a very beautifully sunny day. Lots of snow. We've got lots and lots of snow. We've had a few storms so far. And we are very grateful to have a neighbor who comes and plows our driveway, let me just say. But it's a beautiful day. What's the temperature out there today? Let's check. Let's see what the temperature is. I'm not actually sure. It felt colder earlier this morning, but with the sun shining as bright as it does, it makes you think that it's actually hot out, but that sunlight can be deceiving. It's actually very cold. It's minus 15. However, with the wind chill factor, it feels like minus 24. So after this live stream, I think I'm going to run outside and make sure the chickens are doing okay, although they were checked on this morning and all was great. But yeah, how's the weather where you are? Oh, man. Well, I just thought I'd jump on today because I am from the East Coast and a good old kitchen party is where it's at. And although I can't play the fiddle or any instruments for real, for that matter, I just thought we'd hang out in the kitchen because this is where I've spent my day today. Taste test. It's perfect. Perfect. So yeah, actually it's been an ongoing process for a couple of days. I have been canning with my pressure canner. So for anyone who has been here before and has been following along, I got a pressure canner for Christmas 2 Christmases ago from Darren. And I was too nervous to use it. And then my friend Emily, if you're watching this later on, Emily, hi. Emily came to visit. And Emily is a food scientist and an avid gardener and canner. And when she came to visit, she put me to work and said, you're going to learn how to can because you can do this. And thanks to Emily, I overcame my fear and I learned so much from her. And I have a whole video of that up from the fall. So you know what? Once this is all done, I'll put it down in the description in the show notes for anybody who's watching this during the replay. And if any of the moderators feel like jumping in there and finding it, if there's time, by all means, you can put it in the chat. But if not, folks, you'll find it in the description. I'll edit the description after we're done hanging out today. So today, I had to make more, I want to say chicken stock, but it's actually poultry stock because I've been saving all of my turkey bones from Christmas and everything chicken bone. And so they were all in the freezer, taking up a lot of space. And then I ran out of stock, out of broth from my preserves that I made with Emily. So I was like, I have to do this on my own. It's the first time I've canned without Emily with my pressure canner. I was a little bit nervous, but I did it. I did it. And I was just taking everything out of the canner, and I thought, well, let's finish that together. I'm doing a whole video about the whole process because I had to simmer the stock for a number of hours, actually a whole day and more. But yeah, the whole process is finished. The video will be coming out on Sunday morning, this coming Sunday, February 1st, my first February video. And so I hope you tune in and watch that. So it's a how-to in the way that I go through the steps of how I made it. But I don't know. I'm no expert yet, so it's more about hanging out in the kitchen and doing this together, right? So here we go. I've been hearing the popping lids. If anybody out there is a canner, ooh, not enough space. You know what I mean by the popping lids, that sound that happens? Ooh, it's a delightful sound because you know that your lids are sealing. Boy, it's a tight squeeze in here. I really packed this out. I have 2 layers. Can you still hear me when I turn away from my laptop? I have 2 layers of jars in this amazing pressure canner my husband, my sweet hubbity bubbity, got for me. That, rearrange that for space. And it is delicious. I mean, I don't mean brag. We hear you fine when you turn away. Okay, great. Thanks for letting me know. Yay! Battre 2224. We hear you fine when you turn away. Wonderful. Gram of 9. Yes, thank you. And thank you, Kathleen, for being my moderator today. Let me see. All right. Anybody else in Ontario? Anybody else? There we go. I'm adding you, Gram of 9, as a moderator. I thought I had already. I hope you don't mind. But yeah, let me know where you are in the world. If you're in Canada, if you're in the United States, if you're anywhere else in the world, I'd love to know where you are. You don't have to tell me specifically. We're going to keep things private. Like, I don't share exactly where we live because the internet is a wonderful place, but it's also a very odd place sometimes. Yes, it is very, very cold, and you're in Canada. Okay, so it's cold where you are too. I imagine. But yeah, let's see how many I ended up canning. I counted them earlier, but now I can't remember. This is the first layer coming out. Let's see. Oh, these are beautiful. They look like they've all sealed. Look at this gorgeous broth, you guys. So good. So yummy. So, I don't know, what was I saying? I'm just blathering on. I'm just chit-chatting. It's very rare that I'm at a loss for words. But yeah, we were out of broth, and so I used my last jar to make some homemade ramen. It's delicious. And so I thought, well, I gotta be brave. I gotta be brave, folks. I gotta do it on my own. Not gonna lie, I did send Emily a little bit of a panic message asking her a question, but before she could get back to me, I figured it out. So, nevertheless, I have to be fully honest. I did reach out to Emily going, Emily, is this normal? But it was okay. It all worked out. Oh, wow. Okay. How many jars? Can I just say, because Darren and I are empty nesters, we're not going to be making giant jars of broth. And if we have more than he and I for dinner, we could just open more jars. But these little ones right here, these half pints, folks, these are perfect if you're not feeling under the weather and you just want to sip on some broth. you got a glass of broth ready to go. Just warm it up. So good. And it's the perfect amount of broth when you want to do a little individual ramen. Because we're gluten free, I can't go and crack open a store bought ramen, the delicious traditional Mr. Noodle, my university body fuel. So making them homemade is the way to go for us. I mean, there are some store bought packaged ones, but the flavor packets haven't really made me go, ramen. So we just buy the noodles at Costco and make our own broth and load it up with veggies and protein and yumminess. So yeah. So, oh, how many did we get? How many did we get? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 pints and 3 half pints. Not bad, huh? Not bad. It was a good haul this time. So yeah. I also thought that while we're here and celebrating this pressure canning adventure, we could talk about gardening because that's coming up. Technically, I should have started my onion seeds. However, I have to order some because I'm out of onion seeds. And I'm waiting till the Costco starts carrying their large bags of organic soil so that I can start my seeds. And I was told February is when that's coming. So I'll wait. That's okay. Not a problem. But I have pulled out my seeds. And I thought we could open them up because I just don't remember what's in here. So maybe we can open them together, shall we? I see that there are 6 people here. Hi. Hi, 6 people. And 2 thumbs up. Thanks for the thumbs up, friends. I appreciate it. I really do. Please let me know in the chat if you have any questions or anything. Let me know if you're drinking tea. I can take the spoon out now. But yeah, are you growing a garden? And if you are, what are you growing? Okay, this was the box that I got last year from West Coast Seeds. I mean, I opened it, but I don't know what I stored in here. I learned so much during my first season gardening last year. When we were living in the city, we had a small strip along the side of our very small house in the suburbs of Toronto. It was the only spot that got a little bit of sun during the day because the houses were all really crowded and there were tall trees in our backyard. So it was a very shaded backyard. And so when the kids were little, I started growing food with them. We'd plant a little garden, like a tomato plant, a cucumber plant, some Swiss chard, things like that. But it was never anything, and peas and yellow beans, because the kids could go outside and play in the backyard and grab a snack, know where food came from. I was raised with a mom who liked to garden. And so, yeah, but having my own big garden, like a real garden where you do preserves and stuff, I had not done that before. All right, Pak Choi. I had bought these last year, never planted them. I did run out of space in my garden. So I got a little ambitious when I ordered my seeds and I ran out of space. So I have to plan this a little bit better. And I'm working on my garden plan. And I'm wanting to expand, but I really want to stay on a tight budget. And so I have to be careful about where I put the money. Do I put the money towards more soil? And then, cut the budget for seeds? I don't know. It has yet to be decided, which is why you haven't seen a video about it yet, because I'm in planning mode right now. Radishes. My mom loves radishes, and I wanted to grow some for her last year, and again, ran out of space. I like the texture of radishes. I don't know about you guys, but crunching into a cold, crispy radish, the texture is so lovely, but I'm not a big fan of the bite. So if you have a radish variety that doesn't pack too much punch, it's not that I don't like spiciness, it's just that the pepperiness, the type of spiciness that comes from radishes doesn't delight me, let's just say. But I've heard that if you roast radishes, that kind of smooths out that bite, and suppose it's really delicious. So maybe I'll get a chance to try that this year. I didn't grow any salads last year, which was part of the goal. Again, ran out of space. You live, you learn, right, folks? But corn salad. Have you guys heard of corn salad? I've known it as mash, and oh yeah, there it is. It's written there, mash. M-A accent circonflexe C-H-E. It's so delicious. It kind of has the texture of spinach, but the leaves are a lot smaller. They're teeny, teeny, tiny, and they're a little crispier than spinach. Spinach is very tender, but it has it's very similar to spinach, but it's a lot sweeter. The flavor is so lovely. It's such a great salad. So I'd like to grow some of that. Speaking of spinach, never grew any last year. Man, I got a lot of seeds, but it's not necessarily everything I want to grow. Jalapenos, these are ones that I had, I think, when we were in the city, because there are no seeds left. Bag's empty. But Darren loves spicy, so I'd like to grow some hot peppers for Darren. I'd like to make cowboy candy. I've never made cowboy candy before. Anybody out there ever made cowboy? Oh, you've never heard of it? Matre 2224? Yeah, it's so good. I'm assuming we're talking about mash because everything else is all pretty familiar stuff to most people. These are saved seeds, but they're from squash, like zucchini and stuff like that, and they won't grow true, so I'm not going to use them. Old pumpkins seeds, but it's empty. I tried to grow pumpkins in the city. It didn't work. They did absolutely nothing. These were squash bought at a farmer's market. Again, I should just get rid of them because they won't grow true, although I could see what kind of variety might come of it. But cucumber, Russian pickling cucumbers. These are very, very old. We've been here since summer of 2023, the end of July, beginning of August is when we moved here. And we'd grown these like a couple of years before. So these are pretty old, although seeds have been known to last a while, but they haven't always been stored in optimal condition. I left them out in the sunroom 2 years ago. So they froze and thawed and froze and thawed and froze and thawed. Yeah, that was a mistake. Carrots. This is empty, but I kept it because I wanted to remember which ones I had ordered. They were so yummy. These are from West Coast Seed, Caravel. They were so good, and they grew really well. I'd heard that a lot of people struggle with growing carrots. I had tried growing some in the city, so I can attest to the fact that it's not just plant a seed, it'll grow. Nothing grew for us for carrots. But what I did differently when I planted them here this summer is I followed the technique of planting them quite shallow, watering them, giving them a good soaking without washing the seeds away, and then covering the area with a 2x4 with a board. Actually, it was wider than that because it was some cedar boards that we have here on the property. And so, and once it germinates, you remove that and they grow, and it worked. Except the chickens tore most of them out. So even though I planted a whole pack of carrots, I didn't get a whole pack's worth of carrots. They were also choked out by all the volunteer tomatoes. So any questions? No. We have 8 people here. Hello, 8 people. Say hi in the chat if you're not watching on a TV, because I heard that watching on a TV limits your ability to interact. I don't know. That's what I've heard. It's not what I know. Onions. If you've been following along, you know the onion saga and why I planted onions but didn't get a lot of onions. These are empty because I planted them all, did not harvest them all. But yeah. Okay, so I have lots of empty bags from this box. But I have to replenish some things like the onions. I have to get some seed potatoes. So I'm definitely growing more potatoes this year. All right, tomatoes. Oh, these are the beefsteak that we grew. These were delicious. The first tomato that we harvested was like massive. And how many pounds was it? I want to say it was like 3 pounds or something like that. I harvested it in the video where I was eating weeds and making medicine. So if you want to find where our first tomato was harvested, and it was one of these, was it the beefsteak? It wasn't. I just told you a little fib there. It wasn't the beefsteak. It was the pink brandy wine. And those, I don't have any seeds left, but the beefsteak did okay, but they stayed a little small only because of my failure to trellis my tomatoes. These are really old Swiss chard seeds. I might try them, see if they germinate. I mean, the beauty is that if they don't germinate, I can just get a new pack and throw them in the ground and they'll still grow. It might just take a little longer to harvest. Celery, definite. Oh, there's still celery. Yeah, there's still some in here. Definitely growing celery this year. I loved growing celery. It was so tasty. You'll see when I release my video on Sunday morning of the broth, I saved the, well, I'm all out of celery. The celery's gone, but I saved the leaves. I'm gonna put some of that in my broth. That's so good. These are beets. These are not the beets I planted last year. These are really old, but I wanted to plant cylindra beets, which are cylindrical. So they're long and round, of course, which are perfect for pickling because you can just slice them up. You know, pickled beets in the store, like they're round slices. So they're great for that. I didn't end up pickling them. We just ended up eating them. They're all gone. So I'd like to grow some more. These ones, like I said, are very old. They never grew in the city. The soil just wasn't great. It was very clay. The soil in the city was pure clay. I could have probably made a bowl better than I could have grown a beet. Time to take a sip. All right, Gold Rush bush beans. Are these new? There are a lot in here. I did order some last year. If you saw my video, my garden planning video for 2026 that I posted a few weeks ago, I talked about where I had tried to grow some beans and they did not do well because the soil was basically not soil. It was just dirt. There were no nutrients in there. I'm wondering if these aren't those beans because there's a lot left and I didn't plant the whole bag. I hope it is. That means I've got some beans to plant. Yay! Borage. I grew borage last year and then promptly killed my plants because I didn't water them. That'll happen when you're gardening. Nobody's perfect. But I wanted to grow borage because bees love borage and I wanted to invite the pollinators to come and hang out in my garden, which they ended up coming anyways. I didn't have borage for them. But the reason why they ended up drying up and dying and I stopped watering them is that I didn't know where to plant them because after I started them, that's when I learned that these can be a little bit invasive. They can kind of take over and you can't get rid of them. So I didn't have a pot in which to put them to contain them. And so they just stayed in their starter packs and then just grew leggy and sad and dried up. So there are confessions of a new gardener. There you go. If I'm nothing if not honest anyway. Any comments, anything? Nope. All right. Bush beans. Okay, yeah. These are the ones I ordered last year because I ordered green and yellow beans. So, and they both have a lot. And I had only thrown in a few seeds to see how they do. And I found out they did terribly. Now, these are all old things. Oh, these are the cylindra beets. Oh, I still have some of the seeds left. See how long they are? Isn't that cool? I think my biggest one was like this long and it was really big. It was massive. It was fun. All right. What else do I have in here? Chervil. Tried to grow that. You'll see in my video on Sunday that I use herbes salées, salted herbs. I'd like to learn how to make my own. And the jars that I use from les herbes salées du bas du fleuve, they have chervil in the ingredients list. So I was like, I'm going to grow chervil. It didn't grow. Do you know why? I put it in the same garden box as I put my beans. There was no nutrition. So, yeah. And the chickens also like to go snack there. Zinnias. I've got seeds for zinnias. I did start some last year, but didn't get them in the garden because I didn't know where to put them because I ran out of space. They weren't thriving as starts. They weren't doing great. So these, oh, I got a tickly nose. Oh, this was from seed saving from 2021 when we were in the city. All right. Green filet pole bean, heavy yields, French heirloom, émérite. Those are green beans. Maybe I'll try them. Again, it's all about space. Watermelon seeds. Tried them in the city. They didn't work. Space is a thing. I gotta just temper my expectations. Guys, this channel isn't called Little Farm Big Dreams for nothing. I'm a big big dreamer. So that's why I have so many seeds for things I have no room for. And they're not all practical. I need potatoes for the winter more than I need a single giant watermelon that takes up so much space with its foliage and fruit. Oh, loofah. I tried to grow the loofah last year, but the chickens dug them up and they did not rebound. And someone in the neighborhood gave me some seeds. The bag's in here. I didn't pull it out. It's just a paper bag. Do you want to see what a loofah seed looks like? I can show you. Anyway, so I had planted some of hers, started some of hers and some from these old seeds that I had to see how they would do. They all no, not every seed I planted germinated, but a seed from each one of them germinated. I wish I could have followed through with the experiment. But loofah, if you're not familiar, right here, these often are used in the shower as a scrub brush kind of thing. People use them for scrubbing their dishes. And loofah is a gourd. It is not from the ocean. A lot of people think that loofah come from the ocean because of sea sponges and everything, and it does kind of look like from a different world. But they are from a gourd, from a squash. They take up a lot of space. They grow tall. They'll go right over your house if you let them. Here is a loofah seed. Can you see it? There we go. So those are from a fellow gardener in the area. I had posted on Facebook saying, hey, anybody got any loofah seeds that have grown locally that might fare better than the ones I got? And somebody brought them to me. She just came to my house and gave them to me. It was so nice of her. Because I had tried to grow these in the city, but it didn't get enough sunlight and enough heat because of the growing space I had. And so their fruit was very, very small. And then the temperatures dropped because welcome to Canada. And so they weren't able to make it to full maturity. But wouldn't it be cool to grow a loofah? All right, wax beans these ones were delicious. These grew in the city for us. Those are great. And Siberian kale. So this is the kale that I grew. And then my friend Elaine and her husband got us some kale starts as a housewarming gift when they came to visit this summer. And so the Siberian kale, what I liked about it is that it was a more tender leaf. It wasn't quite as leathery as the kale that you get in the grocery store. So improved Siberian. I'll grow a couple of these plants. For those of you who know, I'm not a huge fan of kale, but I do enjoy it. It's just not my favorite. I prefer Swiss chard over kale if I had to pick. San Marzano tomatoes. I still have a few seeds left. I'll probably use them. These are the pink brandy wines. I have seeds left in here. I've got a few seeds, not enough for our garden's worth. These were delicious, and some of them grew so large. It's wild. Wait a minute. Do I have 2 packs of celery? I don't know. Did I buy some when I lived in the city? I don't know. Corn salad, pak choy. I don't know. I'm not finding it. Maybe I'm going through things that I've already been through. Scallions. I still have a few seeds of scallions. My scallions that I thought were onions were as large as leeks by the time I harvested them. Last year, I had intended to grow some Armenian cucumbers because I've heard that they're really delicious. They're kind of ridged and a little paler than the grocery store dark green English cucumbers. This was more of an experiment that never happened. Swiss chard from when we were in the city. Oh, dill. I tried growing dill as well. I tried starting dill last year, I think. Did I? No. When our first full summer here, which was 2024, I threw some in the garden boxes, but it didn't grow because, again, that soil is completely depleted of nutrients. And then, parsley. Our parsley did amazing in the garden. In fact, up until a few weeks ago, I had cut it all down, gave it a big haircut, but I didn't pull the roots out. And they still looked a little bit alive. So does parsley come back? Hey, experienced gardeners out there, will parsley come back? Can it be a perennial in cold climates like we have here? And peas. These are old. These, I think, are from when we lived in the city. I'd like to grow peas. I love going out to the garden and just eating fresh shelling peas while I work. I think to preserve them, I would need to grow too many, and it's a lot of work. So I'd rather save that garden space for something that can produce more food that we can save for the winter months. Because right now, the cost of groceries, I'm sure many of you are feeling that squeeze as well. So for me, I think one of my main goals this summer is growing things that can be preserved for the winter, that we can enjoy over the summer, but that we can get enough of to have food over the winter months so that we're less dependent on the grocery store. Because once your garden is established, folks, there is some input, right? You got to buy the compost or the soil, unless you're lucky enough to have a property where the soil is already rich. But we needed to build our beds with compost and everything. And so there's upfront cost, but once that's established, seeds don't cost much. Like, for example, a big bag, 50 grams, approximately 185 seeds. That's 185 plants potential. And each plant will grow multiple beans. So there's a lot of food in here for $4.69 Canadian, by the way. I'm in Ontario, Canada, if you're wondering. So seeds can be very, very affordable. Just, establishing your gardens can be the bigger challenge. Look, these Cylindra beets, I still have some left. They were $3.79, and they're organic seeds. You can't even buy a bunch of beets for bunch of beads. You can't even buy a bunch of organic beets for $3.79 in the grocery store. So that's why we're doing it. And I know that some people out there are living in apartments and may not have growing space, but if you have a balcony or even a window or even some grow lights, you can grow something. It's pretty satisfying. And I got to say, being able to create my own stock is also incredibly satisfying. And a tip that my friend Emily gave me, the reason why we had so many chicken bones is she said, I just save all of my bones. You don't need to have cooked or roasted a full chicken to save the bones. It could just be if you're having just like chicken legs for dinner, throw the bones in the freezer bag and just collect them. Same thing with if you want to make beef stock. Just if we're having steak that has a bone in it, throw the bone in the freezer bag until you have enough to make some stock. So that's what we have been doing, and our stock is delicious this time around. And it was good last time too, but this one is really, really yummy as well. And so, yeah, pickled beets, yum. Melanie, hi, Melanie. Or should I say Melanie? I'm so glad you're here at this impromptu, unannounced live stream. Pickled beets are delicious, aren't they? And they're really good in salads. Why did I not know that? That's so weird. Anyway, yeah, I love pickled beets. They're really yummy. So hopefully maybe this summer I'll get to make some. Pickled items are great, right? Because you can preserve them. They have a long shelf life. But if we fill up our pantry with pickled things, because they're easier to can, if you're a beginner canner, pickled things and jams are a really nice, easy place to start because you feel safe doing it. The vinegar helps to prevent any type of risks with canning. But if you if you fill your pantry with pickles only, then what else do you have to eat for the winter? So, but yes, I would like to try making pickled beets. But yeah, Melanie, are you growing a garden this year? I'd love to hear. And Matre 2224. I'd love to know if you're growing a garden. Kathleen, I know you. I know that you guys have a nice, lovely little garden in your backyard. Your husband has got a green thumb. That guy is impressive. And he makes really good, really delicious homemade bread, which I can't taste because I have celiac, but it always smells good in their house. You are growing a garden. Amazing. Do you have a favorite thing that you grow that I should consider including on my list, my very extensive list? I'd love to hear your suggestions. Now, I have the comments on slow mode, so if it looks like I'm reading for a long time, I was just worried that if people commented quickly, I'd miss what you guys were saying, and I don't want to miss what you're saying, and I love that you guys are all hanging out. 5 thumbs up. Thanks, guys. Thank you. I have a couple of questions here. My first live that I did after the holidays, I had gathered a few questions that people had asked over the course of my first year on YouTube. And I didn't get to all of them, but I have a select few here that I'd like to talk about. Janet asked, how often do you have to weed? Right now, I don't have to weed at all. It's amazing. But when it came to my garden last summer, I did not weed often enough. So a couple times a week, if you go out there, you can get the little weeds getting in the way. But if you let things go like I did, there was a weed that I pulled out um, that was probably 6 feet tall. It was a whole lot taller than I was. But well, I mean, I don't set the bar very high. I'm quite short actually, but that weed was absurd. I needed to weed more often. It's no secret that Darren and I have moved out to the country to start this homesteading journey in our 50s. And so my knees aren't what they used to, and I'm definitely not an athlete. So, you know, all the weeding and being down on the ground was good for me. It actually strengthened my body. So I'm not saying that I don't want to do that anymore, but I've hopefully simplified my gardening experience and my weed management needs by using some landscape fabric. So my beds currently, when I put them to bed, if you saw my little story, when I put the garden literally to bed, tuck them in with blankets and everything, the landscape fabric, I decided that I'm going to try growing with the landscape fabric to help control the weeds a little bit more, to keep the moisture in a little bit more, because it was a bit of a drought last summer. The garden still was quite prolific, but I just thought I'd see what it's like, experiment, because I'd never done that before. Do I have concerns about using plastics in the garden? I do. I do. But I figure that if I keep an eye on its deterioration, leaching or microplastics will hopefully be reduced in the soil. Melanie says we will be doing our seeds this weekend. Yay, Melanie! Since I am in a zone 2B. Ooh, brr. My favorite green and yellow bush. Oh, yeah, you're going to plant your bush beans. Yeah, green and yellow beans. Oh, seriously, so good. So good. Bill Bartow, I'm live. Hi, Bill. Thanks for being here. Melanie, good luck with your seeds. Your seed starts. Do you have a big setup at home? That's something I'm struggling with, is where am I going to set up my seeds this year? Because we now have kind of like a sofa bed in the alcove that I used last year to grow my seeds in. I had a table there. That space is no longer available. So I'm trying to figure out where I'm going to grow them. So thank goodness Costco's not getting its soil before February, because I'm not ready to start my seeds anyway. I can't blame it all on them. You're welcome, Melanie. Bill, it's really nice to have you here. 11 people on an impromptu live. I am honored. Thanks, guys. Love it. I love it. Anybody have any questions? If so, let me know in the chat. I'm going to go to my next question here. Raj Cast asked on the video where I had an abundance of eggs last summer, on the video that I called Too Many Eggs. I washed 91 eggs that day and made mayo and other things. So he asked, so how long does it take to wash 91 eggs? That sure is a lot. So, Raj, I went back to my raw footage and I calculated how long it took me to wash 91 fresh eggs. It took me 46 minutes and 33 seconds. So there you go. That's how long it took me to wash them. Now, Gram of 9, who is one of my moderators today, she asked, how many plants of each variety did you plant, and how many survived? And the reason I don't know, but I brought up this question because it has inspired me to track that this year. So last year I tracked the weight of all of my harvests. If you saw that video, I weighed everything. Well, almost everything. There were a few things that I didn't weigh, so I kind of tried to I didn't pad the numbers, but I tried to take it into account. I think I underestimated, but I think it's a really good idea to track that for this coming season. So hopefully I can stay on top of it. I'm creating a spreadsheet. My friend Emily has inspired me. She shared her spreadsheet for how she manages her seeds and her plants and how she assesses what she liked one year and what she's not going to regrow and what she definitely wants to regrow and where she got it from. So I'm learning how valuable it is to track all of this stuff. So hopefully I'll be able to track that, let you guys know how many I started, how many made it into the garden, which ones grew, and how many pounds. Because I'm definitely going to be weighing my harvests again. That was really cool. I liked that. So no questions, making sure. All right. Now, another question that I had, which was a really sweet question, actually. It came from my 2025 recap video. It was the video that I posted just before the new year. Was it just before the new year? Yeah, I think it was. Was it on January 1st? No, that was my lie. I'm talking to myself, folks. This happens a lot more than I care to admit. One of my subscribers, Liette, asked what recipe I'm most proud of from 2025. And I was like, that is such a good question because I did so many new things. It was a little bit difficult for me to pick, but my pumpkin pie was up there because I had never made a pumpkin pie before. And I was a little intimidated by it. And since my celiac diagnosis, I hadn't made pie because, well, I tried to make pie and the crust was less than stellar. So, and I'm having trouble finding pre-made crusts that are gluten-free where we live. But once I found a recipe for the crust, I made a pumpkin pie for the first time and it turned out, and I was really stinking proud of that. So my pumpkin pie is up there. My recipes also, I was like, but then canning is kind of a recipe. So canning with Emily was a huge highlight for me because it opened up a whole world for us here on our little homestead. What else did I write here? It's hard to decide. Oh, if any of you have ever tried any of the recipes that I've shared here, I'd love to know. You can go back to the video where you got the recipe, or if you happen to be here, if you've ever tried any of my recipes, I'd love to know which ones you liked the most. Or if there's anything you'd like to see me try. There are a few things I have in mind, things I want to try out. Should I say them here? Maybe. I might try making gâteau sucre, sugar pie, maybe. I don't know. We'll see. If you know, you know. It's so good. So yeah. And also, for those of you who are watching that aren't celiac, I would say most, if not all, of my recipes can be made with wheat flour or just ingredients you have at home, and they'll turn out exactly the same way. So yeah. Well, folks, we've been at this for almost 45 minutes, and I am so delighted that anyone showed up. Since I didn't announce this live, I just thought, I'll just jump on. It's my last video for January. Let's do a little live. And if you're watching this after, if you're watching the replay, thanks for tuning in, you guys. I love that. If you put a comment under the video after it has broadcast, I'll be able to chat with you in the comments there too. And so, I was told, thank you. My moderator just texted me because I missed it. Bill has a question. Favorite method for making hard-boiled eggs? I'm partial to my pressure cooker. Bill, I have never tried making hard-boiled eggs in a pressure cooker. And I should. So many people say they love it. I literally put it in a pot of water, cover, set it out. When it boils, turn it off, leave it for 7 minutes, and Bill's your uncle. Get it? Sort of Bob's your uncle because Bill asked the question. I'm really not that funny. But what's interesting, here's a little tidbit if some of you don't have chickens yourselves who are laying eggs for you. Fresh chicken eggs are terrible for boiling. Even if you put the little hole in it or you try putting it in the pressure canner cookers, because they're so fresh that the shell sticks to the egg on the inside, and they're really, really difficult to make hard-boiled eggs with. So when I make hard-boiled eggs, I always use my oldest eggs to make them. And when I say old eggs, they could be a week old. Because when you buy eggs at the grocery store, they've been harvested for quite a while before they come from the farm. They go to the factory or whatever to get washed and sized and packaged and dated and then shipped and then put on the shelf. And then they're usually good for like a month or so. So when I say an older egg, it's usually like a week, maybe 2 weeks. But the fresh eggs are terrible for making hard boiled eggs with. So that was a great question. I should really try my pressure cooker. In the wintertime, we have a whole lot less eggs, guys, because, oh, this is actually a great segue. Okay. So the chickens lay less eggs or no eggs in the wintertime, especially as they age. And the reason for that is because their hormones are affected by the amount of daylight. So when winter comes and the days are shorter, that informs the chicken's body to adjust its hormones so it's not working so hard at making eggs, but rather staying warm. And somebody had asked, and I've been asking myself this, so it took someone else asking me in the comments of one of my videos to look it up. Why do chickens molt in the wintertime? So I looked it up finally because it's a horrifying thing to witness when it's freezing cold and you have like a featherless chicken going around and their little comb is all shriveled up and pale. It's sad to see. And you know what? If they molt again next year, I will take footage of it. They looked so bad. I was like, I can't show people this, but maybe it would help somebody out there. Now, what I've learned is that, oh, and if you're wondering what molting is when chickens like lose all their feathers or most of their feathers or a lot of their feathers. And the reason it happens in the winter, because it seems like an odd time of year, especially here in Canada, for a chicken to be featherless, is because their feathers get dirty and damaged and they lose their ability to insulate the chicken quite as well. And so they lose their feathers as the days shorten. It affects their hormones and also affects their feathers. It informs the hen's body to shed their feathers and then grow brand new ones, which will insulate them better because they're healthier. And that, my friends, is the answer I found on the internet as to why chickens molt during the coldest period of the season. So there you have it. Any more questions? I think that's it. Well, folks, what a delightful time to spend with all of you who joined me live. Thank you to all of you who are joining me after the fact. I will see you in the comments if you have questions, suggestions, insights. I'm always open to them. And so, as I usually sign off in my videos, thanks for joining me, folks. I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Bye for now.